Brenda Cornish. The Detroit War of 1967. Who really won? It was in July of 1967 when life, as we knew it in the city of Detroit, changed. It was 3 years after the tragic car accident that took the life of my father and left me, my mother, and siblings healing our wounds and adjusting to our new life without him. My uncle, who had been discharged from Vietnam, came to stay with us that July. My mother felt she could use the help. My father had purchased our Martindale home in 1957. Our home sat between Grand River and Joy Road, a prosperous area that included clothing stores, shoe stores, drugstores, bakeries, and businesses such as real estate, doctor and lawyer offices, all employing from the neighborhood. The Riviera Theater was the landmark for the community as it once had a high-end status much like the Fox Theater in downtown Detroit today. In 1967, it had become a movie house, still standing grand over the striving businesses surrounding it. It was on a Sunday afternoon on July 23, 1967 that I asked to go play over my friend Cynthia Hill's house down the street. My mother and Cynthia's mother were best friends, so I had no problem being allowed to visit. I remember Cynthia and I playing in our upstairs Sunday room when we heard a lot of noise and looked out the window to see what was going on. From this room, we were looking out over Beverly Street, where Good Housekeeping sat on the corner of Grand River and Beverly. Being almost 10, we couldn't see much, but I remember hearing a man yell, "Here they come!" A few minutes later, we heard a lot of glass breaking and could see people running with merchandise. The crowd had hit the Good Housekeeping store and the Land of Hi-Fi appliance store that sat on the corner of Martindale and Grand River. Mrs. Hill ran upstairs and got us away from the windows. I remember asking what was going on, but got no answer. Mrs. Hill had Cynthia's big brother, Michael, to walk me home. As we were walking down the street towards the Joy Road end, I kept trying to look behind me at what was going on at the store on the corner. Michael just told me to turn around and keep walking. As the Land of Hi-Fi began to roar into a blaze, I knew a war had begun. It might have been the third day of the riots when the military presence was everywhere in the city. They rode our streets with their weapons displayed on tanks and jeeps. As children, seeing the strangeness of all this, we waved at the soldiers and they would cheerfully smile and wave back. But silently, I believe we all knew they would easily kill us in an instant. About the fourth night of the riot, our family had to take cover as gunfire disturbed our evening. My uncle immediately had us get down on the floor and feared that our windows would be shot out. The gunfire appeared to be coming from houses around us. It was so intense, my uncle said he felt like he was back in Vietnam. We crawled on our stomachs from room to room. Finally, when the gunfire slowly subsided, my younger brother and I were allowed to get in one of the beds while the rest of the family slept on the floor. When we got up the next day and went outside, we found what seemed like hundreds of bullet shells everywhere. My mother's flower garden had been trampled and was littered with bullet shell casings. The neighbors' yards also shared our invasion. As a child, I never knew who or why there was so much gunfire that night. No one we knew had been shot, nor did anyone's home get shot into, but I will still always remember seeing the machine guns that were set up behind our house in an open field that has now been covered by a church. My mother said if they had opened up the homes with those guns, we would have been dead. Yes, a war had begun. What started out as a protest fueled with anger against racism or a racist system in the city became a war. Detroit Negroes against the system. In getting back at the system, we battled, pilfered, and burned. Some even died. As a result, some of the resolutions we received were racially sensitive social programs, state scholarships, and diversity in the police department. The war was over, or was it? Typically, when a war is over, resources come to rebuild the destroyed area. areas, but Grand River and Joy Road never regained this class or style. Many businesses that employed people from the neighborhood, which allowed residents to walk to work, are now gone. Drugs were now poured into the community, becoming the new neighborhood employer. In fact, Grand River and Joy Road became infamous as the launching area for the organized youth drug ring Young Boys Incorporated. The 1967 riot was an explosion of emotional frustration. In hindsight, we can say that things could have been handled better, as many black businesses were also lost in the flames that summer. Businesses that had survived racist attacks and threats. As a result of our explosion, more dependence on the system emerged. We have limited shopping in our neighborhoods, reducing revenues in our city that could have been used for our enhancements. Many neighborhoods still have vacant lots where employing businesses once stood. But our most important demise is that our children do not see prosperity in their neighborhoods, which would have given them the vision to pursue in the same manner. So, who really won?